When it comes to special education, at least in my area, there are about like two big main groups. One of them is where students basically are completely immobile by themselves. Like, they need constant care and help. It's less on the fact that they can't understand the subject that they're in. It's more of they just need constant 24-hour care whenever they're in the place of a school. The other one, which is where my main story is going to be coming from, is where students have comprehension problems, or just genuinely don't know how to do the subjects, like whether it be math. Mainly English is the one that I've been endured in. So currently I'm going to be talking about special education, and mainly the fact that I was in it. Wow, what a big shocker. The main big thing I want to talk about is how people can be falsely put into special education when they don't need it, which is a case of me. Maybe in the beginning I might have needed it, but I went into special education for way longer than I should have. And I'm going to kind of start off at the beginning to what kind of progressed. It would make sense why people would think I would need special education. Start off, I had horrible speech problems, mainly in the fact that whenever I was younger, like a toddler, I was basically speaking no English at all. I was speaking in complete tongues, babbling. I sound like I came from a foreign country. It was terrible. And the main thing about it is that my mom never corrected me on it. She would just allow it to happen, mainly because she would understand what I'm saying as if it was complete English and get what I was talking about. But no one else around them did. Obviously, I was speaking nonsense. And because of that, my language was never fixed. I didn't know exactly how long this lasted, but it lasted way longer than it should have. But at some point, they started noticing that it's obviously a problem and needs to be fixed. And then I started going to the speech therapy and all this stuff. And what ended up happening is it came, I don't know all the details, but from what I remember, I damn near had every single speech problem known to man. I couldn't pronounce S's, T's, R's, B's, C's, all the letters I could not pronounce. So, needless to say, I was very, very messed up on the language. And now, starting with my writing, even today, my writing is very, very bad. And, I cannot write very well. It is very scratchy handwriting. And even if I try to focus on it, it still looks unnatural. So, honestly, if, an alien had to go and, write our languages, it would look like that. It would basically look like hieroglyphs. And to kind of go back to the speech thing, with me, I have a decent that was a horrible example, but I do have a good vocabulary, and I'm pretty good at articulating the words that I need. So I can show that I have a above average understanding of words and language and the intricateness. I'm just making a horrible case for myself, but the intricate levels of language. But when it came to the past, that was not the case. I was really bad. Now, I'm going to start off on where I excelled, but the problem is that when it comes down to it, they didn't know that I excelled in reading. I was very good at reading and comprehending, passages. And so happened that whenever I was a kid, I did not want to read. And at one point, I was in school, and especially in English class, because those were most of the classes that I had problems with. And they would basically make me read books, and of course I didn't. And at some point, I came to the realization as, I don't have to do that. I'm not going to read anymore. So then I stopped reading. And then they thought, okay, he has a mental problem. Shove him in one of the other classes. So instead of them trying to figure out what's wrong, they just think that I have a cognitive issue and then just stick me with the other people. Which I cannot blame them for. But I think that's a very big flaw when it comes to stuff like that. Because when it came down to it, it's way easier to know if someone has bad language speaking or bad language writing, because obviously you can write out words and boom, they don't know how to write well. It's visible proof, and then audible proof whenever they try to speak a language and they can't do it right. Those are easy things. Comprehension is a hard thing to prove is right, because when it comes down to it, you have to articulate the words and to speak in order to show that this person has a problem understanding. So cognitive problems, especially at a young age, is hard to prove. And so they just assume that any person that has one or two or multiple or all of those problems. They just assume they have a cognitive problem, which was not my case. But that doesn't matter. That was a lot of build-up for to get into these funny stories, finally. One of the main ones I'm going to be talking about is how I got sent to a special school during the summer whenever I was in Tennessee. And the main thing is that my parents did not know I got sent to the school. They had no idea where I was getting sent to. They just knew that I had to go to summer school, and they just let me go. They didn't even know where I was going. Neither did I. And honestly, that place was saying it was horrible would be a lie, but to also say that it looked abandoned would be the truth, because that shit looked dilapidated. The place was fucked up. And honestly, whenever you go there, it was filled with rejects. So I fit right in. Like, it was bad. Like, these people that I was around, like, of course, no offense to them, people have their problems and cognitive stuff. But, you know, these people were way, like, cognitively disabled compared to me. Like, I could read. I could still understand words, but they couldn't do that at all. Like, we were reading, like children's books in this place. And of course, like, I could read completely fine. I just didn't like reading, and that's what they just didn't understand. So I was in this place that I was completely confused, didn't know where I was, and I was going to damn near every day during the summer. And honestly, it's kind of a blur now because that was a while ago, years ago. But whenever I was there, I have a lot of distinct memories, mainly just being around the people. Like, the ones was getting lunch and being in the little gym play area. They had these, like, little boards with wheels on them, and I had an idea to where all the kids to basically go ahead, sit on these boards, and then grab onto a hula hoop. And then one person drag everyone around like a caterpillar almost. And it was awesome. It was a great idea until the teachers wanted to be little losers and said to stop doing it. We kept on doing it until eventually they stole the boards, and, you know, whatever. It was about, like, the funnest memories I had there. The other only memory I have is whenever we had chicken nuggets one day for one meal, and one looked very discolored. And if you don't know, at this time, I for some reason thought of the movie Cooties, which, if you don't know that movie, it's basically a zombie movie to where kids get infected only. And what ended up happening is some kid ate an infected chicken nugget and then got the zombie virus. And because of that, me seeing that discolored nugget was like, oh, hell nah, I ain't turned into a zombie. So I threw it away. But yeah, that's like the biggest, like, fuck up moment that, like, I think of nowadays whenever I ask my mom, like, hey, do you remember that? And she was like, nope. Huh? Like, she legitimately did not remember where I was or the fact that happened. So I was like, oof. You did 2 points deducted. That's real bad. Oof. But that's about, like, the craziest story when it comes to special education. I do have a bunch of others. Most of them were English classes. Honestly, not that crazy. It was whatever. One of them that I was in, there was this girl. Simply put, she was very rude. I know I know it's very mean to say that she was rude, but if I were being honest, she's a bitch. But whenever I was in this class, she could think completely fine. She has no cognitive problems. She's just a fucking wasteful person that doesn't know how to, like, she just doesn't do work. She's lazy. That's it. Only problem. Which, to be fair, that was also my problem. I didn't want to do shit either, so I can't complain. But whenever this was happening, I went ahead and I was the highest functioning out of everyone. Mainly the ones that were in there, they were definitely not, like, they weren't, like, bad to where they couldn't, like, live by themselves or anything. Like, they needed constant care. It was just, holy shit, they were just useless when it came to work. But with her, she, like, you know, acted like a normal person. That sounds really rude, but you know what I mean. But of course, I would get my work done within like a minute, and these people would be stuck on it for 15 minutes doing it, and I was like, oof, that's real bad. This class is not helping them at all. And what would end up happening is that these kids would constantly ask for answers, and of course, I don't care, I would just give them the answers. But this girl would bother me constantly for answers, and at some point, she just wanted me to give her the answers, and I'm like, man, just read the fucking book, it's not that hard. It's like Charlotte's Web or some shit. No, wait, it was the Giver. I think is what we watched or like reading. It was the Giver. Super fucking basic book. It's whatever. And she was and like I walked away from her and then she freaked out. She was like, "Get back here and you help me with this book." And I'm like, needless to say, I was really mad at her for that. And after some point, basically, she like started saying some shit because of that. She got like "Ooh, you're running fucking mouth." And at this point, I was not in the greatest state, for reasons I will not explain. But at that point, I was a crash out. I said and did things I shouldn't have done, and one of them, which, to be honest, I wish I did worse, but I didn't. What ended up happening is that she started running her mouth, and I was sitting a little bit behind her, and so I had the book and I threw it at her head like I should have. Honestly, I wish I threw it harder, but I didn't, and it looked like we were about to square up, but of course nothing happened. She just didn't do anything. We just started kind of yelling, and then at that point, it was broken up, and then it was whatever. Yeah, real fun story. Yeah, needless to say, I've been like around the block when it came to like special education. I know one time I was in it, and then I think at that point, like, at this school, I was still in it for a little while. And at some point, they realized that I needed to get taken out of this because clearly I was completely fine with doing more, like, doing good, like, normal work with all the other kids. And I was like, I don't want to do that. It's going to make work harder. Who would want to do that? But yeah, I basically get forced into there. And honestly, this teacher was fine. She was whatever. Honestly, the only thing I can remember from her is that her like last name was really close to Hitler. That's just like a random thing that I remember. I don't exactly know what it was. It was like Hitter, Miss Hitter, or something like that. But it was real close to Hitler. And she kind of pissed me off sometimes because I hated her work. So I would just call her Miss Hitler sometimes. But yeah, at that same school, that's also where I met someone named Frederick, and I also became an off-brand AirPod dealer, but that's for a different story. So yeah, hope you guys enjoy the story and stuff, and all the